Welcome back to the Real Couchwives podcast where we overanalyze all things Bravo.
Believe it or not, we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of Sandoval. Traitors just finished, where Tom Sandoval made it almost all the way to the end before he got eliminated. In his own words, he says he was a pleasure to work with, and he definitely thinks that this was the redemption arc that he didn't get in Vanderpump Rules. So the question that we have to ask ourselves today is one that I don't even really want to ask myself, but it's, are we finally ready to forgive Tom Sandoval, and has Traitors redeemed him? Because I don't hate it as much as I thought I would hate it.
Yeah, I think at least seeing him be a little bit sad and pathetic in the castle and kind of have him be a bit of a butt of the joke was very nice to see. I think there's still going to be a good portion of people that maybe don't forgive Tom Sandoval, but I do think we're at a turning point where there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm over it. It's time to move on, and
Yeah.
they're happy that he was on this.
I don't know if we forgive him, but he's definitely more palatable. I will say that. Like, honestly, Traitors was kind of the best thing he could have done. So we're gonna talk a little bit about, Tom Sandoval's stint on Traitors, how the world seems to be feeling about the most hated man in America. We're also just gonna talk a little bit about Traitors because it just ended. We have a lot of thoughts. This cast has been incredible. And then talk a little bit about The Valley, which just had a pretty explosive trailer come out. So lots to get into.
Overall, Carrie, how did you feel about Tom Sandoval's time on the Traitors? Did you think he did well?
Okay, so at first, I definitely did not understand why they put him on the show. I feel like when Traitors first came out and we saw that he was on it, we were like, why are we continuing to give this man television? Like, right. I just this is not what we wanted. No one asked for this. We were just like, please sit down, sir. So definitely wasn't going in feeling excited. And then, as you said before, I feel like it was almost healing for us to see him on Traitors, because it just felt like he was not in on the joke. Like, he took the game so incredibly seriously. And it was kind of hilarious to watch just no one in the castle take him seriously. Like, literally, he would come up to the round table and he would be like, I think it's Dolores. And he's like about to go onto a whole thing. And then everyone's like, shh, honey,
no,
the adults are talking now. This is not literally, they were just like, okay, Sandoval.
Yeah. Yeah, that, and then the memification that's kind of happened of the Tom Sandoval singing nursery rhymes backwards into a telephone box. That is some pretty fun television. I think that's a little bit of levity that we needed in this world at this time. So yeah. I can at least appreciate that. But yeah, but at the same time, he was just kind of, I guess he didn't really have much of a chance of being his most annoying self. But he did kind of reveal himself when he had that moment at the round table when he said that he had a bit of a slip of the tongue where he said that women were historically the most famous cheaters. And it was, and everybody at the table was like, Tom, how dare you?
Yeah, there was just so much kind of Inception-y vibes that were, or not Inception, but just very meta, right? Everyone was in on what was happening, even when he got voted out or when he got murdered. And they're like, for once you were actually faithful. There was just so many good digs. Also, watching Dolores and Chrishell just absolutely go into him night after night. It was very clear he wasn't a traitor, but they were just like, we hate you, so we're going to did you see some of the memes on TikTok that was like, Tom, I know you're not a traitor because the traitors have actually told me that you are not a traitor, and I have literally seen what is written on your card, but I'm going to vote for you today because I don't like you.
I don't like you. That, and all the ones that are like, Tom's actually not even here anymore, but I still have a feeling that it's Tom that was the traitor, so I'm gonna vote for Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, the nursery rhyme part was pretty
it was
amazing.
Also so good. Yeah,
there also people are talking on the press tour that they're doing, so Dylan was saying that apparently right when they found out what the what the challenge was going to be about and there was going to be a singing component, he was already like, medics, I need a lozenge, like, and he was like starting to do like
his vocal
exercises.
Oh my god.
And also I don't like the fact that people that you love like Dylan and Gabby didn't hate him entirely does kind of, you know, impact the way that you see him a little bit too.
Right.
Like, I definitely don't want to go out and say that I forgive him or I'm like, oh my god, I love Sandoval now. Like, for sure not.
Yeah.
But I feel like as far as his image is concerned, this definitely softened him. Well, more to the point where you're like, whatever, you're fine, you're whatever.
Right. Well, even the fact that like Carolyn said that if she hadn't been a traitor, she would have like gone all the way with like Tom Sandoval, like that would have been like her ride or die or whatever in the game. You're just like, wow, really? Like, I ended up liking Carolyn so much, and to think that she kind of like had bonded with Tom Sandoval so much is kind of interesting and kind of surprising. I don't know if it makes me feel any differently about him, quite frankly. Like, I think he benefited from the fact that like he wasn't asked any questions about on this TV show. Like, this TV show had nothing to do about his personality or his kind of background in Vanderpump Rules and everything that's happened in the last few months or the last couple of years. Oh my god. But I'm even trying to like remind myself and kind of go back to like, okay, even just a few months ago when we found out that like the Shorts and Sandy's was closing, like the way that he kind of like announced the closing of the bar versus the way that Tom Schwartz wrote the closing of the bar. Like I'm trying to like cling on to like that's the real Tom Sandoval, and like this kind of like neutered version of him that we've just kind of seen on The Traitors like isn't necessarily like a full like, you know, reckoning of his kind of personality and like who he is, and like, you know, at his core, like the, you know, the reasons that I had problems with him are still there in his personality.
For sure. And I feel like if you had put even anyone on his cast who triggers him in that show, like a different part of him was gonna show up.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't actually really know anyone there. He didn't really have any allies. And again, like, it was just funny to watch. Like, it almost felt like retribution to just like see him kind of be like not taken seriously in the show and like just have some comedic moments.
Yeah, it's true, especially when you compare it with like the way that Ariana's kind of like moved on and like gone on to do other things, like the fact that she had the whole Dancing with the Stars thing, and she's been able to go on to like host Love Island, and she even did something for like the Grammys recently. Like, she's had like different...
Ariana is doing incredible.
Yeah, so, you know, as long as she's still the winner of the divorce, I'm happy. That's all that matters to me.
Well, that's it. And actually, so Sandoval just went on Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast.
Yes.
And it was kind of funny. It was just such a crazy juxtaposition between his like Vile Files podcast that he went on like a year ago when he was just like so messed up and just like aggressive and like
still
everywhere.
In the thick of it.
Like, just like, really kind of like just coming at everything, taking everything like as like an insult to him aggressively, like just wasn't making sense. Like, it was weird. It was a weird podcast.
Yeah, it was bad.
If you want to go relive it, we did an episode breaking it down. It was wild. Here he was very intentional. Like, he was speaking a lot more eloquently and like clearly, more so than I feel like I've ever seen him do in press, which was weird.
Well,
you could just tell the way that he was showing up to it, though, that he feels that he has changed America's mind. Like, you truly can. Like, just the way that he was coming, being like, you guys love me now. Like, it's all good. Like, it's in the past. But I feel like there were glimpses of, to your point, like how he truly feels still, because she did ask him, like, you know, it's been 2 years now, like, hindsight's 2020, like, is there anything that you would have done differently now that you're looking back? And he basically didn't backtrack literally anything. He was just like, yeah, you know, it was such a crazy time, and like, it just kind of shows you who your true friends are. Like, I have thicker skin now. And it's like, so you wouldn't change anything then?
Like, no notes. Wouldn't do anything differently. All worked out perfectly. Okay, good to know.
So I thought that was kind of like, you know, a question on a silver platter that he just totally was like, nope.
Yeah. Well, especially considering we're kind of having him and like Carl Radke kind of like you know, side by side, kind of like on the cusp of both of them kind of like having left their very public Bravo relationships. And Carl is still very much kind of doing the like, you know, yeah, this is, you know, looking back at it now, would I have broken up with her on camera? Like, I totally understand. Like, you know, he's like having that reckoning and kind of like understanding how he's kind of behaved, at least a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, yeah, the fact that like Tom Sandoval like is like still the same beast that he was like 2 years ago, and he was like, I've done nothing wrong, Ariana, this is your fault, you made me cheat on you for seven
Well,
months
he
like
still he still managed to get some Ariana digs in too when she asked kind of like where he's living or whatever, and he said that they're still trying to sell the house apparently. And
good.
she was like, "What do you mean? I thought that like that was already done. Why is it
Yeah.
taking so long?" And he's like, "Well, because I have to do everything myself." Just like every like you know like it's still there. Like you can tell
Yeah.
that he still like hates her, or
Yeah,
just
he's
like
still
I don't know how
spiteful.
he can be spiteful when you're the one who
Yeah.
literally put yourself in this hole. See, maybe we had to remember.
We
We
need
had
to
to like
remember. We need to be transported back. We need to just like remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. Another thing that was funny too is apparently his girlfriend,
Mm.
Victoria, I think is her name,
Yes, yeah.
doesn't watch the show, didn't know who he was when they started dating, but they met at his band's show. And I'm sorry, you're gonna tell
Right.
me that you don't watch Vanderpump Rules and you're going to Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras? Like,
It's so interesting that that was Raquel and Allie's story as well for James Kennedy. Like,
guys, if you want to date someone on a Bravo show, you just go find their band or
yes.
like,
Probably works with a lot of celebrities, you know, go find Adrian Grenier, like, you know, whoever started a band, and like just go find it and like go show up and see what happens. That's
and
a
just be
tale as
like,
old as
I've never
time.
seen the show. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know
I'm
what
not
you're talking
familiar
about.
with your work actually. Tell me more about this Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah.
uh
So that was interesting. And then the other thing too is he's just like, yeah, you know, like whether people were laughing like with me or at me, like I'm just happy that they're laughing. Like I'm just such a silly old goof. And it's like
wow. Kill me.
Or how can we forget when he got murdered and he's like basically he said he got murdered because he was too smart
Yeah,
and
he
they
was
had to
catching
kill
on
him.
to them. Yeah.
When okay, I want to debunk this for a second. He keeps being like, "Oh, like I won over the house when like I told them that like Boston Rob must be a traitor." And it's like
Right.
I feel like at the point where he started making those claims, it was so evident and like the whole house was already pretty much like knowing that it was Boston Rob,
Yeah.
but he like is coining that he led this charge.
Literally, like I think that Wes and Derek had like way more of an impact on kind of like swaying the house and kind of getting them to go after Boston Rob than Tom Sandoval ever did. Like that was so
It was
ridiculous.
so funny. And in his own words, he's like, overall, I think this went so great. Like, I was a pleasure to work with. Like, ultimately,
Delusional to the end.
yeah, like, ultimately, this man, I feel like will always be in his own way. I mean,
hmm
we did an episode where we kind of unpacked his, was it like his Vanity Fair article
No,
where
the New
they
York
said,
Times
oh,
article.
New York
Yeah.
Times, sorry, wrong
Yeah.
one. But there was a part where the interviewer was saying like he's just been in reality television so long that sometimes you
hmm
wonder if he knows what reality is versus what
Yeah.
reality television is. And like you'd be talking to
Yeah.
him and if there was like a noise outside he would like stop and wait
Yeah.
as if there was
Yeah.
like you know a camera and he had to like pick back up. And it
Yeah.
just kind of makes me think like truly who is Tom Sandoval outside of
hmm
reality TV.
Yeah, that's just it. I do kind of hope, like, obviously, we're super sad about the fact that Vanderpump Rules isn't coming back, and, like, you know, whatever iteration we're gonna get of it isn't gonna be the same. But I guess I do also kind of hope to a degree that, like, all of these people get to, like, move on with their lives and, like, get to experience the real world. Like they lived their 20s and 30s in this kind of very specific bubble, and that's got to be hard to kind of like leave after all these years, after like 12, 13, 15 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, yeah, like it sounds like if it's warped your brain so much that you can't even have like a truck passing and you're like, oh, I had to wait for the truck to
I
pass.
have to pause.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Great. Now I can continue to say my thought. Or even the way that like they talked about like kind of like how he delivers his confessional lines and stuff. Like I do think that like it alters your brain chemistry. Like I watch, like if I binge watch like Sex in the City or something, all of a sudden like my internal monologue is like Sex in the City, like,
Yeah.
and that's just like when I binge watch a TV show for a few weeks. Like that's not like 12 years of my life, right? Like so
Yeah. Yeah.
I do kind of hope that maybe there is something else on the other side for them and they can kind of like touch some grass.
No, it's so true, but especially Tom Sandoval and Scheana. I feel like even like before we
Mm.
knew that Vanderpump Rules was
Oh,
ending, it was like those are the
yeah.
two people that are like going to be the least okay with it. Like there's all the like, somebody go check on Scheana memes. Um
Yes.
but not to worry,
Still going
Scheana
strong.
has found her way onto another show, apparently The Masked Singer, that
Uh,
Sandoval also did.
yes.
I
And
haven't seen
Luann.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Luann did it?
Yeah,
No way.
Countess Luann did it too.
So I just saw this, like I saw some like things on Instagram, but like, oh
Yeah.
my god, it was so bad. It was so bad. Like Scheana, stop singing. I'm sorry.
More than anything, I just think that the concept of the Masked Singer is like so annoying. Like I don't like it as a concept. I do not
No?
endorse this TV show. I do not support it. I do not like it.
Why?
I don't know. Just think it's is it because it's cringe? Is it because it's like they always come out in like these like weird costumes, and maybe I've seen like too many of the commercials. I've never actually watched the show, but I've seen the commercials like a million times because they usually like air on like free like over like CTV or something. Um and then it's this kind of like whole performance of like they take off the mask and everybody's like, "Oh my god, I had no idea it was you!" And it's just like, yeah, that's the concept. It's is that every show? Every show you're like, "Oh my god, I had no idea it was you."
That's so funny.
Maybe I'm just boring. I don't know, or like I'm a Debbie
I mean,
Downer or
it is
something,
like
but
a
I'm not
weird
into it.
random thing that like doesn't need to exist. But
No.
I just thought it was so funny when like on my Instagram scrolling through and you just see like
Yeah.
Scheana really terribly singing espresso.
It does feel like that would be a really ambitious one to go for. Like I feel like there's got to be other things in her wheelhouse. I don't know. Sabrina Carpenter is like a really like good singer, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
So
well,
not that yeah, Sheena's a good singer too, but there might just be
she's
other
a
things that maybe would be
performer.
more appropriate for her vocal range. I don't know.
Yeah. I just
I
thought it
would
was funny that
guess.
her and Sandoval have both been on
Been on
this.
it now. Yeah, well she's probably waiting by the phone now for the Dancing with the
Traitors?
Stars.
Oh,
Dancing with
oh
the
yeah.
Stars.
Well, okay. Oh yeah, so Sandoval also said that Scheana really wants to be on Traitors, and I think out loud I was like, what doesn't Scheana want to be on?
I don't know if she would be good on Traders. I could actually kind of see Tom Schwartz be on Traders. I think that would be interesting.
Well, because his whole like, what, woo me?
I couldn't possibly be a trader. It's not in
I
my
would
kind.
love to see Tom Schwartz as a traitor. I feel like
I
he
think that'd
would
be so
crumble.
fun. I don't know. Maybe he could do it, honestly, because he's got that kind of like good boy kind of like thing going on, that persona for
That's
him.
true, but I could see
I'd
him
be
getting like
super
really stressed
curious.
out.
Yeah, yeah, I could see him having like internal, but you know, he kept the Scandival secret for 7 months. Like, you know,
That's
maybe
true.
he could
That's
keep this secret
true.
too.
Tom also said that if he was a traitor, that he would have left the show.
Like he would have been like, "Oh, I couldn't possibly, not for
Yeah,
me."
no, literally, he's like, I couldn't have been a traitor. Like, I couldn't do it.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, you couldn't be a traitor, but you
Sure.
could cheat on your girlfriend for 8 months or whatever. I think it's
Come
more
on.
perception. Like, I feel like if you make
Yeah.
the most hated man in America a traitor,
Yeah, it's like
yeah, it's
too
probably not great.
obvious. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's
No, I
just,
think
oh, go ahead.
no, I think well, you know, I think they chose the right traders. I think it was you know, it was strange and stressful to watch. You know, I don't think Danielle's come off particularly well, unfortunately, but Boston Rob and Sierra just did a commercial for Dunkin' Donuts, so
I love this
congratulations to
friendship
them.
so much. Oh
I
my
know,
gosh.
so cute.
Yeah. Honestly, the traitors though, I look, as much as Boston Rob like shot himself in the foot, it was incredible television. Like
Yeah, it
that
was very fun.
round table of the traitor on traitor.
Yes, yeah, him versus
Like
Bob. Oh my
him
god.
versus Bob was amazing.
Yeah,
And then also Wes being like the only way that you could know someone for sure
is a
is
traitor.
traitor is if you're also a
Yeah.
traitor or a
Yeah.
faithful. But Danielle, I just feel like she was so over the top. I feel like she played such a bad game, and yet she made it almost to the end, and I just don't
Yeah.
understand. Like,
And
when she was literally shaking and crying on the
yeah,
floor,
I know.
like, what the hell?
That's just it. Like, it's so over the top. And like I get it. Like, they've all said, like, no, we had no idea. And like she was swearing on her grandchildren and like all this stuff. But like I'm just like, really, really, like, I don't know. Like, I know it's easy for us to say because obviously we know, like, so we follow along and we're like, oh, of course it's Danielle because we know it's Danielle. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's so over the top. But like, I just, yeah.
But even to like a person who wasn't in the know, like she's literally shaking and crying on the floor. Like that's
Yeah.
like, and just like
Yeah.
at every single breakfast, she was just like flabbergasted and just like
Yeah.
so emotional.
Yeah.
Also, did you realize it's only 10 days that they're in the house? Like the full thing is only 10 days.
No.
That's what Tom said.
Really?
Yeah.
10 days? That seems short.
Yeah. I'll double check that, but that's what he said.
I guess because they do banish and like they do one banishment and one murder every day. So I
Yeah, and
guess
one
that makes
challenge.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Damn.
just like it's
That
really
is super
condensed.
fast. No wonder they can do all of them back to back. Like the
Yeah.
Scottish, the UK one is in that castle. The American one is in
Oh,
that
really? They're
castle.
all in that castle? No
Yeah, I
way.
haven't seen any of the other ones, so I don't know if they're also in that castle or. But that castle is getting well used.
Oh, oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah.
I
It's
guess that's also all you could take of the Scottish summertime is
yeah.
10 days because it's not very warm.
No, they seem very
You're like
cold a lot of the
baking to
time.
go back to the U.S. after that.
Honestly, it was so funny because when we watched the reunion, and like you saw like Dorinda and Robin and Wells, I literally forgot they were on it. Like it's
Oh my
just like
god.
they were there so short of time. I'm
I
still
could
so upset that they killed off the
Dorinda.
housewives right at the
Mm.
beginning. Such
I
a missed opportunity.
I have to admit I forgot that Robin was there. I remember Dorinda just because of obviously Dorinda, um but the fact that Dorinda's like, I had to call Andy Cohen after, and I was crying. I was so upset about being murdered by you, Bob, the drag queen.
And she
Um,
was so mad he didn't know
and
who
I
she
was so
was.
mad at her. And he was like, you don't know who I am. Like, why are you supposed to know who I am? I don't know who you are. Like, it's not an insult. It's just a fact. And she was like, and I felt like, I don't know, I kind of felt like the housewives were just trying to have their moments in like the reunion. Like, I didn't really feel like it was authentic. Like the fact that Ayan like got up there like twice and was like, here, look at my outfit. Don't I
Yeah.
look
Well, it's
amazing?
also just funny because like they obviously are all a lot more like they know Andy. Like this is like
Yeah. It's
they're
their
comfortable here.
territory,
But you know
totally.
what? Watching this reunion, and I have to say I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is such a good cast. Like having the four
Mm.
winners up there, I'm like, this is such a great. Okay, Ivar. I don't know
I,
why you're
he
there.
ended up being kind of fun,
He is kind
It's
of fun. He's like,
added a little bit of color to the mix,
but
right?
like giving us Gabby and
Yeah. Dylan.
Dylan,
Yeah.
like, oh my god, they're amazing. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
Gabby has to go somewhere in the Bravo Unisphere
I would
universe.
love
Like, this is
that.
like she killed it on Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah. That would
Yeah, it
be
just kind of
fun.
reminded me of like this is such a good cast dynamic. I feel like they just are so fun and
Yeah.
entertaining, and like they really just like killed it.
Hmm.
And it is a really interesting premise of like seeing the reality TV stars that you love like come be in this like super campy, like
Mm.
ridiculous, overly dramatic game
Yeah.
where you have nothing to base anything off of except for like the way someone looked at you, or like also to see like how Broken Telephone like
Mm. Yeah, the
works, and just
whole.
like the power of
Yeah.
persuasion. It's just like it's very honestly, I love the show. I really didn't
Yeah.
expect it, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just started season 2, so I'm very excited to kind of see how that goes, but I think you're right, like I don't get the sense that like I don't think the cast is kind of like as fun as maybe the season 3 cast was.
No, people say season 2 was actually like the lightning in a bottle
Oh,
season.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, cool. Well, I'm
Um
I'm I'm excited
it
to
is
watch it.
it is really good. I went back and I watched it. I'm not done either, but
Yeah.
it's really good. It's completely different from this season in the
Yeah.
sense that the housewives stay around a lot longer than they do here.
Yeah.
Um
But I did feel like when we first got the announcement of the season 3 cast, we were kind of like, wow, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with these
so
guys.
true.
Like,
it's
who are all these people? Like, what's going on? And then actually, I'm like, oh no, actually, I love this group. Like, this is such a fun group. They've been so amazing. Yeah, a lot of unexpected breakout stars from it.
Yeah.
Even Dylan Efron, like, I'm completely converted. What a cutie.
Oh my god, we're obsessed with Dylan Efron.
Who knew?
Who knew? The world has
good.
been hiding another Efron.
Efron. I did not know that there were 2 of them.
Yeah, it's so good. Who
Yeah.
would be like your dream cast to go on to Traitors from Bravo universe?
Ooh, so I had a bit of a diabolical thought earlier where I was like, ooh, wouldn't it be kind of fun to see, because they've had Larsa and Marcus on as like a couple. What if they had
Oh my god, I forgot they were there for so short of a time.
What if they had Paige and Craig on as a bit of an ex-couple?
Well, okay, first off, okay, that's amazing. But also just them individually, like Craig being like, I'm a lawyer and a storyteller.
Yeah,
like...
well, yeah, of course.
And then Paige just being ruthless, and I could see her just like, I would want to see her as a traitor. And I feel like she would love being in the turret.
I would appreciate that. But even then, I'd find her quite fun as a faithful and kind of like going after people. I'd want her to be like one of the like longer running ones. Trying to think of like other people. Anybody from like the challenge that could be kind of interesting. We've already gotten a lot of the like big ones from the challenge, but
the challenge. I'd have to
maybe
Tori.
Like Tori, yeah, Tori, or like Anissa. Like, I don't know. It might be kind of fun to like bring in like pairs, like do like duos. Like,
Jordan,
interesting. Oh, Jordan would be interesting.
Jordan
I would wonder how they would
cry.
respond to him. Yeah, exactly. I think that
also Stassi, obviously.
Stassi. Oh, Stassi would love it. Oh my god, she's already dressing for it. I don't know if she would do it though, because like she's got little kids at home.
But if it is a shorter
only 10 days,
season, and I don't feel like it brings up as much like toxicity in people as Vanderpump Rules, which is what she's kind of like commented on, like maybe that could be, I don't know, I feel like it was made for her. Like I feel like she would do so well.
I think it would be fun. So that could be kind of cool.
The way that it was like made for Phaedra. I don't know if you've gotten to it yet, but like, oh god, she's incredible.
No, I can already tell. She's been, she'll be good.
It's so interesting. And honestly, like I am curious to see its reception, because like I don't know all that many people who watch it right now, but if you look at the press tour that the winners are doing, they're going everywhere. So obviously there's like an increased viewership here.
That's just it. I think like year after year it's gotten like bigger and bigger, especially because there's now so many of them globally. Like there's a Canada one, there's an Australia one, I think there's a New Zealand one. I don't know if there's others, but yeah.
It's it's so good.
It's taken off.
So just to circle back on our initial question of has Tom Sandoval been redeemed?
Yeah.
And I think the answer for me is I wouldn't call it a redemption, but it's softened us a little bit. I think like from his perspective, this was the best show he could have gone on. Yeah. Like, I think this is the best outcome he could have possibly had, to your point, to at least make us forget for a moment how much we hate him.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think I'm a little annoyed by the fact that like that was also a question that Andy brought up at the reunion where they were like talking about basically how this was like, you know, now we want Tom Sandoval on everything, and I was like this is the last question that you needed to like
calm down,
that you needed to bring up to him. Like he does not need to be aware of this. Like people, come on, chill. Yeah, so
like, have we not learned to not feed his ego? Like, are you kidding? Like, that's literally what created this monster.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna say that day one I was a hater, and I will continue to be a hater. I'm a hater through and through. Haters gonna hate.
It's also funny too to be like, call it a redemption as if he did anything to redeem himself. He just was like less toxic than normal, and
he just
also
happened to be there.
We were able to make fun of him.
Yeah.
So
he just well, there you go. Yeah. So we'll see.
I don't know if that sounds so mean.
I mean, I just said that I was a hater through and through, so I think you're okay.
I mean, Yeah, it's just interesting. I definitely wouldn't be like put him everywhere, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would enjoy it. I'll definitely
Okay.
say that. I'll
Yeah.
give it that.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Anything else on Traitors before we move on? Also, to anyone who hasn't seen Traitors, I hope that this has convinced you. It is so good. You have to.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so good.
you can just start at season 3. That's what we did.
Yeah,
And
and then
it's
just
so
make your way
fun.
back after that.
Mhm.
And you also need to watch the UK version now too, because the
Oh,
UK version
yeah.
is very good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll add it to the list.
it's
I
on
gotta
the
finish season 2.
yeah. Finish season 2 and then go watch season 2 of the UK one. That was the really good one.
Okay. Is the UK one the
Really
one where
good.
it's like kind of like random people?
Yeah, it's just people. It's
It's
like
just people.
it's just people. It could be anybody. Like you could be
That
on
is
it.
interesting
Like
because you have
it's
like, you're not bringing in any preconceived
yeah.
notions. Like, it's just the
Which is
game.
actually kind of why I love like the concept. Like I love that like there's the both, like right? Like you can see the US version with like we come in with like these ideas of like who these people are, and then we come in to the UK one with maybe more like just like stereotypes of like, oh, okay, that's like an old lady, so like she's not going to be threatening or whatever. Like that's kind of the, and so then they like, you know, if they're strategic, they kind of like try to use that persona in their advantage, and like there's just different things that kind of happen.
Mm.
But it is kind of like working with like stereotypes and like different
Ah,
yeah, preconceived notions of people. It's great. It's really good. Definitely recommend it if you haven't watched it.
okay. I definitely have to watch it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just want to see Gabby and Dylan more places. That's
Yeah,
mainly my takeaway right now.
there you go. Fair enough.
Oh, actually, no, I did have one last question for you.
Okay, yeah.
So at the end, you get to either they can split the money or they can choose to continue banishing if they still
Right.
think that there's
A
a
traitor.
traitor there, or if they just kind of are like selfish and want to have more money.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think Tom would have done if he was in that group?
I think he would have taken the money.
You think?
I don't think he would have continued to banish people.
Oh, okay, okay, yes,
Oh
yes.
yeah,
No, I think
sorry.
so too.
No.
But I think that's only because of everything that's happened to him. I feel like
Yeah.
because he's on this redemption
Yeah.
type of story, I
But
could see
even
him not wanting to rock the boat as much.
I feel like even before like the whole Sandoval thing broke, like he always played the good guy. Like he was always like making it seem like he was just the
That's
good
true.
guy that
That's a
was
really good
like
point.
trying to
Yeah.
like help people get along or do whatever. Like even the fact like, you know, he gave money to Scheana when she needed it during COVID, like um other
Yeah.
things. I'm sure I can't think of them at this moment, but you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
always
No.
trying to like be like the hero for the little guy kind of thing, like was his
Yeah.
persona. So yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I also think, sorry, I have another thought again.
Yeah.
I feel like Dolores, I really enjoyed her on the season,
Yeah.
and I actually
Yeah.
don't even watch.
Her
She's on
seasons
Jersey,
of
right?
Jersey, yeah.
But I really liked her. But like, she 100% did not deserve to win. Like, she voted
Right.
wrong 8 out of 10 times. Like, the only reason she ended up there is because no one ever thought she was a traitor.
Yeah, which is honestly impressive, honestly.
Yeah, it's true.
To be so wrong so many times and still technically be a winner. That's great. I've also heard like so many people be like, maybe this is finally going to give her like some perspective to like look at her friendship with Teresa differently and like see if she can kind of be like, maybe I
Oh, is
don't
she
know
like good
everybody's
friends with
like she's like
Teresa?
pretty good friends with Teresa.
Aw,
Yeah, so we'll
that's
see.
so
Who
funny.
knows? I don't think it'll change anything in her real life, but
Yeah.
people on the internet can dream.
Okay, so the other thing that just dropped is the season 2 of the Valley trailer,
Yeah.
and it looks insane. It looks
It does.
wild. It looks like there's a lot of really heavy topics that are coming out, and like nobody's relationship is safe.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like there's like so many topics that they're going to like the fact that like you have Kristen and Luke getting engaged and pregnant. Um you know, Trouble in Paradise in at least potentially two of the couples that are still couples with Danny and oh, what's her name? Danny and
Oh gosh, I don't
is
remember.
it Nia?
Maybe.
The
Yeah,
she's the one we like. I don't remember
honestly,
her
we
name.
can't
Sorry.
like
She was
if there
cute.
I know if there's gonna be like one sacred couple, like could it not be them? I'm like,
It's not gonna be them.
could we
It's not
not
gonna be
put
them.
Can we not put cheating rumors on everyone? God damn it.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
And even so, like Janet and Jason are like, there's going to be allegations against them.
I
Obviously,
like when Kristen calls Janet a fan. Like, oh.
And like all the stuff that's going to happen between like Jesse and Michelle and the fallout of their breakup, and then obviously the fallout of Jax and Brittany's breakup, which honestly, like, I don't know if I'm ready for.
The Jackson, Brittany, and the Michelle and oh my god, what was his name? Jesse.
Yeah,
That's bad. That's like they have children, and some of the stuff that's coming out just in the trailer is like they're not hiding anything, which we appreciate, but like it's gonna be pretty rough.
It's gonna be crazy. And like the thing is, like, so it's like March now, like they're gonna have to be filming if they like keep the schedule that they currently have, like they're gonna have to be filming again in a few months. And like
Oh my god, yeah.
The things that are happening between Jax and Brittany, like right now, like still feel kind of like pretty volatile. So hard to imagine what a season 3 will even look like, and we haven't even seen season 2 yet.
I mean, it definitely makes you question the timing of Jax coming out on the podcast saying that he you know has a drug addiction for like 20 years, and then you kind of start to see some of the trailer, and obviously he's gonna try to get ahead of, I think, some of the things that we're gonna see in the show is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think he definitely like knew like, hey, I have to do this now. It's like now or never, basically. Like, and I'm sure that the network was with him on that, like wanting him to kind of like put something out there to like get it ahead and just like start to do the press tour and all that stuff to. But at the same time, like it's just it's gonna be really interesting to see how it gets handled, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is really interesting that he chose Alex Baskin's podcast to come out and share this information on. Yeah. And then also one of the questions were basically, production didn't know, right? Tell us production didn't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, production didn't know. But then later in the same interview, he's like, yeah, but like, and they're like, well, did your friends know? And he's like, well, we've been friends for 20 years. Like they could tell. So you're kind of like, so production knew? Like, not that it's production's fault, obviously, but it's like,
yeah, no, and that's just it. Like, it's not like production. Like, I don't think we would ever hold production responsible for. Like, obviously, we
like you're not his mom. Like,
no, and like these allegations have been out there about the cast of Vanderpump Rules in general for like many years, and like it's always been assumed that obviously production would know. There's been like you know, alleged screenshots of like different things that have been in different shots as well. Like, nothing substantiated, obviously, but like production's not stupid, but it's also not their job. Like they're not responsible for that. Like they don't.
No, for sure. But the fact that they came out and said it now and on this podcast is interesting. Brittany and Kristen did on their podcast, on I guess Brittany's podcast. Like, did she just take over the podcast from Jax?
So she's officially taken over the podcast from Jax now. Yeah, it just happened. Like in the last like I think 2 weeks ago she had the podcast. 1 week ago he got to do the podcast because they've been like alternating.
Oh my god, it's so weird. They're like sharing custody of the podcast.
Sharing custody of their podcast.
Iris, it'll never happen to us.
And then like they had to, well, it wouldn't make any sense. The Real Couchwife. What? Who is that? And then officially this week she took over responsibility and like full ownership of she like released like a new like picture and everything. So it's not even,
I
like,
missed that.
Yeah, but like it literally just happened today, I think. So maybe like this week.
But yeah, her and Kristen basically were saying like, look, it's great that he came out and said this, but like we are holding everything with a grain of salt because apparently it was really, really bad, and it was a lot worse than he made it seem that it was, apparently.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which, look, we have seen this man on television for over 10 years, and we've seen him say and do some pretty atrocious things on camera. So it, you know, you don't have to have that crazy stretch of an imagination to imagine what might be happening, but
yeah. No, yeah. Well, and luckily, yeah, like I have to admit, I didn't watch the Alex Baskin podcast because I was just like,
I just saw snippets of it.
I don't feel like it's gonna like be real. Like it's always like Jax is always kind of like propelling his own version of events and like gonna do whatever he can to kind of like cover his story and cover himself and whatever. But Emily Hanks did a really good job kind of like breaking it down and kind of like, you know, filtering out the BS and kind of like providing us with kind of like what her take on it is. So if anybody watches She's Speaking or wants to watch She's Speaking, I would recommend kind of going over there to take a look at it, because it was really interesting, to kind of get into kind of like the nitty gritty and like what she was kind of able to kind of call him out on.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff about him kind of like, you know, saying like trying to like say that like he's the reason that he's like doing like the drug testing, and he's the reason that he's gone to therapy, and
Yeah.
he's the reason that he went back to rehab,
Or that he like stopped because of his son, but apparently that
yeah,
like wasn't the case. He
wasn't the
like
case. No,
was going off when his kid was in the car.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like honestly, like it's, I feel like it's this is maybe an extreme comparison, but I was listening to a different podcast today. I was listening to, oh god, what's it called? My Favorite Murder, which is
Oh.
like a true crime podcast. And it and they were just talking about how like this like, you know, serial killer basically like up until like the day that like he went to like the electric chair was like telling different stories of versions of events, and like, and in that moment I was just like, oh, it's Jax Taylor, like it's different, but I feel like the thing that propels like one person to like constantly be lying and like telling different versions of the events and not being able to just like come up with like the actual truth and say one thing as the truth, like, and it's just like over and over and over again, and you're like you're lost in the sauce, you're lost in
Yeah.
the lies that you're telling, and you're just constantly, you're so used to having lied for the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life that you're at this point you don't even know the difference between the
Yeah.
truth and the fiction
Well,
and
like lying
everything.
plus drug use and
Yeah.
heavy drinking and all of
Yeah.
these things. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like Jax might be a pathological liar. Like, I feel like, but
Yeah.
like clinically,
Yeah.
like, I feel
Like,
like something is like,
yeah, wrong.
yeah. I
Yeah.
hope he goes therapy if he's not in it already.
Allegedly he's like in it, but the Emily Hanks was saying he's talking about how he goes therapy and then he checks in with his therapist and like, and then, you know, like outpatient, I'm thinking about doing that, like all this like stuff that he's just kind of like trying to make it seem like he's doing so many things when really all that he's doing is like going to therapy once a week and like thinking about doing outpatient therapy. Like it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I really wonder what's in store for us with the
Yeah.
Valley coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I don't know how they're gonna handle it, because also like he's gonna be gone for part of the season, right? Like,
Oh, is he? Oh, was it then that he was
because
in his first
that's when he did his first stint in rehab.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It it's so crazy because I feel like last season got so intense too that we're like,
yeah.
"Oh my god, how can it get crazier?" And then you see friggin' Jesse and Rochelle and he's basically calling the mother of his child a hooker.
Yeah.
You're like, "This is we're off to okay." Okay.
Remember when we thought that this would be a boring TV show about
Yeah.
parents in the suburbs? We were like, what kind of controversy could these people have? Come on. Bottle service to baby bottles.
They just like
What is
I'm
that?
gonna continue to stand on this. They really marketed the show so badly. Like it's not
Yeah.
about bottle service to
Or
babies
baby
to baby
bottles.
yeah
No.
bottles. It's about imploding marriages. Or
Yeah.
like
At like an alarming rate that's like even like rivals like some of the housewives, like housewives
oh, it's
marriages have
like
lasted longer than some of these marriages.
and it's like messy.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's
not
really
about
messy.
couples trying to handle adulthood at 40 years old, which was a
No.
weird premise and I didn't
Yeah.
understand why.
Why are we tuning into this? Where are we gonna watch this week to week?
Like yeah, but here we are.
Here we are.
Super excited to watch the next season, which I don't know what it says about us and people that we're like, I want to watch the train wreck.
I can't wait for the mass. I love mass.
Yeah, like imploding relationships. No, but like there also looks like there's some new people that I'm like, I don't know who they are. I don't remember them being on the trailer, but they put them in the cast
really?
photos. Yeah, there's like maybe
Oh.
2 new people.
Oh, I totally missed that. I didn't see them, but maybe I just wasn't looking hard enough. Because I thought I saw just all the normal folks.
Yeah, in like the main picture, but then there's like some
Yeah.
individual pictures, and I saw like 2 random people that
Oh.
I didn't see.
Okay, I'll
I
have to
did
take a
only
look at
watch
that
it
later.
once. I have to watch it again, but who
Yeah.
knows? To really like get all the
To
pieces.
like fully digest, let it fully sink in there.
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
so
But
exciting.
yeah, pretty excited. It should be really good. I still can't believe VPR is not coming back.
You know,
In denial.
in denial, in major denial. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. At least we have Summer House to tide us over, and
Oh,
Southern
Summer
Charm.
House
Like,
is
there's
so good
probably at
right
least
now.
like one more episode of that, so we'll see.
Southern Charm has been good too. It's been a little bit slower.
It's been like shaky, and like this whole thing that ended up happening with Vanita like really has me like confused because I just like don't know if I like either like I fully lost confidence in the production and like the way that they're setting her up is like so bad, or like she's lying, but I don't know obviously what's the truth, and
The
I feel
cast
like it's just
seems
like
to be
messy, it's
sticking by
messing with my head.
Vanita.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's true. I
I don't
don't
know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's bad. Like if yeah.
I will say it was a really nice scene with Craig and Austin when
Mm,
Craig finally came out and told Austin why he was kind of distancing himself, and it was because he was trying to not be an alcoholic, and they were both
yeah.
crying. I was like,
Yeah. Why did it take you guys so long to do this? Like, you
I
guys are best
know.
buddies. Come on.
I know.
Jeez. Yeah.
Also, I love Madison. I'm going to say it.
You're obsessed. You're converted.
I don't know when it happened, but somehow it did.
Well, that's good. I'm happy for you. That's nice. Was there anything in
No.
particular that she like won you over with, or?
I just find she's really fun. I'm just liking her
Yeah.
commentary, and like I like her being one of the bros. Like I feel like when she's
Yeah.
not directly involved in the drama, I do actually really like her as just kind of
Yeah.
being like I really didn't like her as the narrator. I was like, what is this? You're not
Yeah.
Cam. But
Yeah.
you know what? She's kind of more gone into a Cam position where Cam was never involved in the
Yes.
drama. She always just kind of like would just kind of stir it up or talk about it on the side and like
Yeah.
come in and be one of the bros. And Madison has kind of slowly morphed into that.
I think that's fair actually. And I think yeah, she has kind of like at least take like I think she's giving because like there was kind of like a weird interim like after she left the relationship with Austin where like she'd been super messy in that relationship, like both of them were all
That
the
was
parties
like the
involved,
most
including
toxic relationship. That was like giving Jackson Stassi. Like it was so bad.
it was really bad. And then even like the way that Shep and Craig were like treating her was really bad. Like overall it was really messy and just like not great. And then I think like the seasons in between that she kind of like took a little bit of a step back, and then it was kind of like, well, why are you here if you're taking that much of a step back? And now I feel like this season and like last season she kind of like was like, okay, I'm gonna give a little bit more, I'll like show a little bit of my storyline, um and kind of like balanced it out. And I think that she has at least kind of like settled into like a good place now, with the overall cast and also just kind of like with kind of like her performance on the show. So I will give her that. But yeah, I don't know if she's like fully won me over, but
No, still not
that's
a
okay.
Madison stan.
Not a Madison stan, no, but that's okay. I don't need to stan everybody. I have a lot of stans.
That's fair. That's fair.
Or I don't have a lot of stans, but I guess I'm a stan for a lot of people. I
Yeah.
don't know.
You have a lot of stands.
Well,
I
I don't
mean,
know
I
about
still
that.
miss the old cast. Like, I will always miss Cam
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Chelsea and Naomi. Like, oh my god,
yeah.
Catherine! You can never replace Catherine. But,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are kind of. I mean, that's not even everything. There's Southern
But that's
Hospitality. There's
yeah.
Below
Oh,
Deck, but
there's a
that's what
whole
we can
other
talk about
yeah.
today.
There you go. Exactly. That's all there's time for today.
Yeah, so let us know how you're feeling about Sandoval after Traitors. Do you feel differently?
Yeah.
Did you watch Traitors? If not, why?
What's
And
going
yeah, I'll see
on?
you next week.